So this is the Elder Scrolls Oblivion remake on the Xbox Series X. This is my Twitch stream footage, so every once in a while there's going to be a degradation in the picture quality. Pay no attention to that, but ultimately this is just an amazing remaster of a game that came out 20 years ago. This was probably one of the best role-playing games I've played almost ever. I think most people agree with that. The best Western role-playing game, that style of role-playing game, open world, real-time combat, lots of emergent quests and things like that, that are really the hallmark of Western-styled role-playing games. We're going to play a little bit here, and we'll talk as we go. There's some things that are really, really great about this, and there are some things that really aren't great about this, but those things, I feel, can be rectified with a good old patch. So ultimately, some of the problems are in performance. Now, there are two modes, quality and performance. It defaults to the performance mode when you start the game. But if you want to bump it up to that quality mode and see all of the really amazing graphical capabilities of Unreal Engine 5, then you can do that. And it runs at about 30 to, I would say, almost 25 frames per second. It is really bad. A lot of frame pace issues, a lot of stuttering, things like that that you'll notice. Again, with the patch, I'm sure they can iron out some of these problems. But in performance mode, ultimately the game performs very, very well. You'll still notice some stutter here and there and some pop-in. That's just, I guess, carried over from the original code, because if there's one thing that everyone agrees with when it comes to Elder Scrolls and Bethesda games, jank is something that they just sort of pre-bake into almost everything. It seems it's like it's just there when you buy it, you expect it, but ultimately it's not too bad, and performance mode is absolutely the way to go when you're playing the game. This is performance mode here. A little bit of a picture stutter there from my stream. Yeah, this was one of the most, just one of the most influential games of all time back in the day with the Xbox 360, and everybody had a 360. They came out first. Sony was screaming about next generation. Starts when we say it does. Do you remember that? Do you remember that arrogant Sony with the PlayStation 3 and the price and all that stuff? Man, that was a good time back in the day, wasn't it? But the Xbox 360 came out, and it was getting amazing games, Gears of War, BioShock, to name a few. And then, of course, when this game came out, it just was incredible. Came to the PlayStation 3, but ultimately, the best version of this game on console was always the Xbox 360, but now everyone can enjoy it. PlayStation 5, of course, if you have a PlayStation 5 Pro, it's got to be the best version right on console. And the Xbox Series X version I'm playing here, and it looks absolutely phenomenal. I really, really love what they've done with the game. You can see just the lighting, little details like that. There's a trap right there. I don't know if I can set it off with the fire. I can't. Let's just avoid that. But ultimately, I'm doing things like walking around, looking at my character model, which the character models are just exquisite. They've done quite a bit with character models and lip syncing. Now, it's not fantastic. It's not one-to-one lip syncing, but it's much better than it's ever been. And the big takeaway here is the third-person mode. They reworked the physics. They reworked the way that your character moves. If you remember back in the day, jumping was just something that was completely hysterical. Jumping up and down looked like you were, riding a horse, and you never closed your legs. You just jump up and down with your legs spread. Animation wasn't great. Here, it's much, much better. You can play it in third person, of course. I always found that these games were just really designed in first person. And yeah, they're much better, and it's the best it's ever been for third-person gameplay. But, when you go into buildings or you go into dungeons or things like that, the camera just hangs up when you're in third person. There's only really two different distances. You click the left stick and you get sort of a close-up version of your character, and click the left stick again, the camera pulls back a little bit more, but you still have that problem when you're walking around corners or particularly going into any structure. It's hard to navigate around in third person like that, because the game's designed to be played in first person, but the option is there if you want to go into third person. And I feel like because the characters look so much better now, I've been doing that on and off. So if I'm outside exploring in the world, I'm usually third person. When I come inside, do a little bit of fighting. You need a little bit more precision when you're fighting. First person is the way to go. I always use a mage, and I always create a female character in a game, because if I'm going to stare at a character for hundreds and hundreds of hours, it's not going to be a guy. It's just how I roll. So ultimately, the character creator is a carryover from the original game, so you're not going to get too many choices here. It was very difficult to design the kind of character that I wanted. Ultimately, back in the day, I went with the high elf because they had a higher magic buff. But I went with a wood elf here because the wood elves are cute. They've got those cute little button noses, and I made a very, very good looking wood elf character. Gonna go straight mage, build her up, and become super powerful. But here we are, just doing some exploration, and you can probably tell the game is just really good looking. The lighting in particular with Unreal Engine 5 just sort of gives everything an atmosphere. It's almost like it's just baked in light, some of the scenes, and it just looks really good. We'll take out that guy there. I'm noticing that combat first person and using in particular magic, it's much more precise. And I don't know if that's because it's running on, it's a remake / remaster, whatever you want to call it. I don't even know what that word means anymore, because there are games that just look like full-on remasters to me, or remakes to me, and they call it remasters, and then there are remasters that they call remake. I don't know. Ultimately, I'm just happy to have something that looks phenomenal and a great, now this is my opinion, don't go crazy, but I don't think Bethesda has made really good role-playing games as of late. I was not particularly enamored with Starfield's exploration, the over-reliance on procedural generation, and just repeated environments, repeated buildings, repeated enemies. Just didn't like it. So coming back to this Bethesda, a fully realized world to explore with handcrafted things to do. I mean, going to your main quest in this, I think I stumbled upon like 6 different side quests, 6 different things to do, and they were all highly detailed characters and just things to collect, things to do. There's just there's no substitute for that, I think, when it comes to Bethesda and what they do, and I'm hoping that they learn quite a bit from doing this and then looking at it, and hopefully it's received very well. I don't know how it couldn't be. And maybe they say to themselves, yeah, that procedural generation bug that we have where, we just let things pop up over and over and over again. You know what I'm talking about in Starfield. I mean, I went to the same abandoned / deserted / cave over and over and over again on multiple different planets, multiple different systems. Can anybody explain to me how 400 light years away I run into the same abandoned military complex and the enemies are in the same place that they were 400 million light years before when I was on a completely different planet? Yeah, that's the procedural generation bug that I can't stand. This game is a reminder of how great Bethesda, in my opinion, used to be and can be again with Elder Scrolls 6. Wood Elf's being a little bit quiet here. I'm using stealth because wood elves are good with stealth. Took that person out. Just look at the lighting. I mean, the way that the fire reflects off of the marble and stuff like that. It's just, there's so many little details with Unreal Engine 5. Again, a little break up there. I stream to Twitch wirelessly. I've got a great connection. It's gigabyte speed, but for some reason Twitch just can't handle it. I don't know what's going on. I don't stream that much anyway, but I wanted to pull some footage so I can talk over it rather than just film it from the television like I do with this high-tech channel that I have here. So there's just something about this game in particular. Now, I'm a fan of Skyrim. I happen to like Skyrim better than Oblivion. I know that most people say they like Oblivion better than Skyrim, But for me, Skyrim just was a fully realized Elder Scrolls game. It was like the perfected formula. The world was so alive in Skyrim. And, I played that for countless hours. But coming back to this with the remaster, I'm remembering just how tightly focused this game was. There's my wood elf. Look how amazing she looks. She just looks so cute. It's amazing. I just want to stare at her and play this game for hundreds of hours. Can't do it with a dude. I'm sorry. It's got to be a girl. But you've got the hotkey so you can, mix and match your spells. You can actually hotkey items here. You can do that before, but there are a lot of different things too that are included in this game that weren't in the original. So fast travel is something that's really, really great. Comes in handy. There's enemy scaling based on the difficulty that you choose, which is great if you want to bump up the difficulty. It gets brutally hard, or you can go all the way down to like story mode and just enjoy it. I like the addition of difficulty options in games. I think every game should have it. I know people go crazy. Not my Souls game. I want to feel like I'm part of a group of special people. But think about it this way. If there are people who can't engage with Souls games and you like the Souls genre and you want more people to play Souls games, there was a difficulty option, say story, and you play it and you learn, and then you bump up the difficulty a little more, you bump it up a little more. It's a way to get more people in the door, and maybe over time they become the great player that maybe you are. So I love that. I love the idea of difficulty settings, all the way from story all the way up to like hardcore, maniac, whatever it is. Just look at the lighting here. I don't know what these are for. I forget what those stones are for, but I'm going to take all of them here. Lock picking is I don't know. Lock picking's never been like my forte in the Elder Scrolls games. Yeah, I know these are important, but I forget what they're for, so I'm just going to take them all. Dirty Scroll, got to read that. I love me some dirty. So ultimately, I feel like it's pretty amazing that this game just sort of drops out of nowhere, and it's everywhere. It's also kind of amazing, and I don't want to be an advertisement for Game Pass because I'm not a big fan of subscription services. You look at what Spotify and Apple Music, ultimately before those two, Napster, all that stuff did music. It just destroyed the industry. So I'm really not keen on subscription services for everything. It seems like Microsoft is the Xbox existence now is just Game Pass, but ultimately, when you look at something like this just dropping into Game Pass, and then like a couple weeks later, Expedition 33, both of those games are $50, so that's over $100 with tax right there, or just $20 with Game Pass. So pretty incredible, right? I would say that most normal people would look at that and say, wow, that's a great deal, but ultimately it's not up to me to make that value proposition. It's up to Microsoft, and they just are not good at it. They're not good at communicating. But anyway, so we're back outside looking around, a little bit of breakup there. I apologize again. This is my Twitch stream footage, so it's not fantastic, but ultimately you can get a sense of just how great this game looks if I just kind of like don't move the camera around too much. I didn't realize it broke up this much. Wow, that's pretty bad. But I guess we're just going to keep doing it here for this video because I've already talked for like 14 minutes now when it comes to this game. But ultimately, you get the sense that this is one of the better role-playing games, if not the best role-playing games of all time. 20 years ago, the Bethesda formula has sort of been lost, and it's great to look back and get a sense of where this all came from, how great this is. I'm having a really good time playing this game. I'm not sure about the DualSense haptic features and the speaker on the controller and stuff like that, but if that's utilized, I might pick it up on PlayStation 5. I didn't pay anything for this. I still have Game Pass for a couple of days and then it expires. So we're going to walk in here. and we'll see how long it takes to get in here and talk about load time. 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5, 1,000, 6, 1,000. So I noticed about 6 to 7 second load times for pretty much everything. Everyone's chatting in here. I don't know what the hell's going on, but I'll pick up a side quest. There's an evil magic user, and she needs to be eliminated. You can check out the new character model here and some of the new lip syncing, which is much, much better than it was back during the Xbox 360 days, but is not really up to snuff with 2025 AAA games. But ultimately, you're getting a lot here, so I don't want to be too nitpicky with it. It's much, much better. Character models look better. So yeah, I think if you played this game before, way before on the Xbox 360, and you remember it fondly, this is the absolute best way to play this game. It includes all the DLC. The standard edition is included in Game Pass, and that includes all of the DLC as well. It's on everything, like I said, PlayStation 5. It's coming to the Nintendo Switch too. I know that hasn't been announced yet, but you can probably bet that this game is going to make it to the Nintendo Switch too. Microsoft wants to support PlayStation, and they absolutely want to support Nintendo with the Switch too. So yeah, this is the Elder Scrolls Oblivion remake / remaster / whatever you want to call it. Let me know if you're playing it. Let me know what you think about this shadow drop everywhere. Let me know what you think about it dropping into Game Pass a couple of weeks before Expedition 33 drops into Game Pass. Pretty cool. Pretty cool if you're a subscriber there. Lots of stuff to play. And hopefully you get a chance to play both of these games, because they're both RPGs. They both require a ton of time, and they're both dropping into a subscription service. So if you're a person who buys your video games and you buy this one, and you buy Expedition 33, you're kind of in the same position. You know, you're going back and forth between two huge games. Not much time to really play and digest both of them. But ultimately, this is a huge, huge surprise, a huge shadow drop, and it looks absolutely incredible. So that's going to be it for Elder Scrolls Oblivion. Again, some of the jank in the third person, they're like running uphill. It's almost like your character's laying on the ground as you run. So it's not really designed for third person. I know people want to play it that way. It's just not designed for it, but you can do it. Sometimes it looks crazy. Again, when you're indoors, it just doesn't work very well. But when you're outside sometimes and you're walking around and you come over a cliff and the sun just beams through the clouds onto your character, it works. So that's going to be it for the video. Elder Scrolls Oblivion remake, remaster, whatever the hell you want to call it. Let me know in the comment section below about how horrible this video was. The video quality from my Twitch stream is pretty bad. Look at that breaking up there. You can't get this anywhere else. You cannot get this kind of shit anywhere else but here. Look at that. Talk about blowing that guy away. Look at him. He was coming at me and I just said, take this fireball. I always take the gold, and that's it. What am I taking here? Sometimes the potions. Nah, we'll try the robe and we'll see what the robe looks like. I got a really cool robe right now, a red robe that I like. Let's look at it. I like the way I look in that robe. Let's try this robe we just picked up here. What is it called? A necromancer robe? I don't like it. I like the red robe. Matches the hair. Well, let's just drop it and go back to the red robe. Ugh, don't like it. Yeah, I like that. All right. So Elder Scrolls Oblivion. It looks great, plays great. It's a great game from the past. One of the best RPGs of all time. And ooh, there you go. Thanks for watching this video. Think about liking and subscribing to this channel. And I will see you all in the next video that I make, whatever that is. I'm trying to put on the Amulet of Kings, but you can't. I just don't remember ever trying to do that back in the day when I played it the first time. So I'm doing all kinds of crazy things right now that I didn't do years ago when I played the original. That's going to be it. There's my character. She's amazing looking. She's a wood elf. Later on, I picked up a bow and arrow because the wood elves are the best archers in all of Oblivion. And I can't think of anything else to include. I mean, it's just, it's a great game. Quality of life issues, performance mode, quality mode. You can set the difficulty. You can fast travel, enemy scaling, enemy difficulty, Unreal Engine 5, bells and whistles. It's just the best, getting much better. And you can bet that probably with the success of this, you're going to see Skyrim and maybe even Morrowind. Maybe they'll go back to Arena, which would be absolutely incredible. I don't think they will, though. But Skyrim seems to be a no-brainer, especially if this one does well. And I'm not talking does well like we've got 2 million players in a day. I'm talking like the game has to sell well. It has to do well at $50, which is the asking price for the game if you're not subscribed to Game Pass. The best value in gaming. I'm just kidding. This guy's got another necromancer robe. I don't want that shit. All right. I'm going to stop the video. It's been about 20 minutes. I don't think anybody's going to watch a 20-minute video, but what the hell. All right. Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remake, Remaster, whatever you want to call it. Fantastic game. Twitch stream breaking up like crazy. Great way to represent the game's graphics, isn't it? Look at my beautiful character. Look at her. If only her daddy bought her a pony when she was 16, she wouldn't have went out and became a wood elf, necromancing piglet. All right, I have to end it now or else it's going to get X-rated, and I don't want to do that. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and I will see you in whatever the next video is I decide to do. But ultimately, this is a triumphant return of one of the greatest role-playing games of all time, Elder Scrolls Oblivion. Thanks for watching.